What's going on, guys? So we have come out here to the Superstition Mountains. Now the past few days since we were in the Grand Canyon pretty much has been just absolutely terrible conditions for landscape photography. Beautiful for anything else, of course, but these bluebird skies with very little clouds. There's a couple of little clouds here and there, but this seemed like it would be the best opportunity conditions wise to maybe come out. So Chris and I are here. You see Chris behind me kind of walking out, and when you have bluebird skies like this with zero clouds, a lot of times it's really tough to even go outside. But today we decided to challenge ourselves and kind of just come out anyway. So what we have here is we've been walking, actually we just started this trail, maybe we weren't even maybe 100 yards into the trail, and we come across a lot of these mud cracks. So it rained here a couple of weeks ago, but it's still kind of wet, and what's happening is these mud cracks are starting to curl up a little bit. So Chris brought out her macro lens. I have my 50mm and a couple of other lenses. So we're going to kind of experiment here in this little area just for right now with these mud cracks. See if we can get some kind of abstract type shots, and then maybe move along to maybe something else afterwards. So we got about 2 hours to sunset, so with plenty of time to explore and maybe find something nice.
So guys, if you're following this channel, you may notice that Mike was talking about a macro lens that he wants to take photos of this beautiful nature out here in the Arizonian desert. And as it happened to be, I own a macro lens, so I usually use that for weddings. I only use it to photograph rings usually, and I thought what better opportunity than to take that macro lens with me today and just make Mike angry because he doesn't have one. So anyway, what I found here is a little scene that almost looks like a small canyon here in these mud cracks. So the mud cracks are all like pushing upwards, and in between them there's a little patch of grass just emerging, and there's some beautiful light coming in right now. As you can see, I'm half in the shade, and I think that side light just hitting the little grass sprouts looks kind of beautiful. So I hope this works out, and if it does, you will see the photo right now.
Alright guys, well I'm glad Chris thinks she's so funny with the macro lens joke. But what I have here is an image I really like. So these mud cracks here kind of get to a point where they're really the ground's kind of wavy. So you're getting light hitting because the light's coming from off to my right, which is behind the camera here. I'm facing perpendicular to the light. So the light's hitting part of these ribs, and then the other light's in the shadow, so this is all about contrast. And then I have just a really small, little tiny green plant that's popping up in the middle of all these mud cracks. So what I'm doing is I'm placing that little plant, this little baby green plant is popping up. So I'm putting that in the bottom left third of the frame, just kind of placing it in a really interesting spot. And then the rest of it's kind of falling out of focus. I'm at f8, 1/80th of a second at ISO 64. I'm shooting at about 135, 140 millimeters, and 2-second timer, and just letting it go. And this is a nice little scene here, just a really kind of intimate, abstract scene. It's got a lot of contrast with the parts of the ridges of these mud cracks that are lit, the other side in shadow, and this little green plant just kind of popping up just makes it for just a really unique, really cool scene. So what I'm probably going to do is leave it like this, f8, so it's kind of it's going out of focus as it goes into the background. I might focus stack it. I'm gonna try it, see how it looks, maybe in post-processing if I like everything in focus or just this plant and everything kind of falling behind it out of focus. So just kind of experimenting a little bit and testing it out. Alright guys, so this one is a little bit different. I'm so happy I got this tripod here. I can actually turn the center column and point it straight down. So what I have here is I have some deeper mud cracks, and the way I positioned it is the mud crack starting at the left part of the frame, left corner, going up to the right corner of the frame, and then I have another mud crack coming from the top left down, and they're all meeting right in this little area, and there's a bunch of them kind of curled up that are really dried up and curled. And then at the top right third is a small green leaf. Again, these green leaves are, or these green little plants that are coming up through the cracks are kind of like the star of the show, really, because what's happening is you have all this beautiful texture in these mud cracks, and it's all kind of dried and almost gives it like a dead feeling, but then you got these little green plants that are coming up, you know, symbolizing kind of the life, I guess you would say. So it's kind of a cool little contrast, both tonality wise, color wise, and also kind of concept wise too. I'm at f11, 1/2 of a second, ISO 64. I'm using my 50mm lens, and yeah, taking the shot here, 2-second timer. Trying really hard not to step on any of these mud cracks because I don't want to ruin any potential compositions. And so yeah, just absolutely beautiful little scene here. Alright guys, so what I did here is I found this little group of barrel cactus that are just, I've never seen them like this in a big group. There's 6 of them right here all together, almost like they have the same base. It's really interesting, and what I did was I took out my 14-24 and just handheld, kind of walked around looking through the viewfinder to see if I can kind of frame it to where it looked really nice. It's kind of in a bad position, so what I did was I kind of backed up a little bit. I'm sitting at 14mm, completely wide open and facing the sun, and what I'm going to do is probably try and get a sun star. So I'm going to shoot it like f16 and yeah, f16 or f18, and then I have this saguaro cactus right here in the foreground, or kind of the midground, and then I have a really nice shaped saguaro cactus in the background with the sun stars going to be right in the frame. Now of course I got no clouds in the sky, but I think it's still going to work out really nice. So now I'm just kind of waiting for that sun to set a little bit lower so I can get that really nice sun star. And then I'm going to have to exposure bracket, so I'm going to shoot it everything at f18 and then just change the shutter speed, just manually bracket, you know, probably 1 stop apart, exposing for the foreground and the sky and everything, so you know, nothing's blown out too much. So yeah, it looks like a beautiful little scene here. This is probably going to be my last shot, I think, and then I got to go see where Chris is at. I know she's kind of wandering around here. She's got a couple of really nice shots too. So this is actually turning out to be a really beautiful sunset.
Found earlier when I was looking around here, and it was beautifully lit here, just from the side, and all of this grass in the foreground just kind of caught the light, and it was all golden and beautiful. And but we went over there and I was trying to photograph a saguaro cactus because I have, you know, some kind of picture in my head that I wanted to do tonight, but yeah, and then that didn't work out, so we came back here and I tried to do this to photograph this scene again, but I think it's just maybe preparation for another time when we get here.
Yeah, so what happens is when stuff like this happens where maybe we should have shot this a little bit earlier, we're in a different location, it's always we can come back here and shoot it at the right light where, you know, where we wanted to kind of today. So, you know, times like these, it's kind of hard with conditions like this, just bright blue skies. It can be kind of difficult, and especially in the desert because everything's really wide open. And you know, it's really dependent on the conditions with clouds and color and things like that, so it's a bit of a challenge, especially for someone like Chris who isn't used to being out here shooting these kind of things like the desert and stuff. So and on top of that, she was kind of in a little bit of a rut. You know, I think before she moved out here, we didn't go out for, I think she didn't go out for what, about 2 months?
Yes.
So
I think Iceland was the last time.
Iceland was the last time she was out photographing landscapes. So when you kind of put the camera down for a while, it kind of can be a little bit difficult to kind of get back in the groove of things. So you kind of, you saw in the last video or the video before, kind of lost your mojo a little bit. But you know, come off of, you know, being without shooting for like 2 months, and then to come into a desert scene with no clouds is pretty tough. So we got to keep coming out here, and I'm gonna have to force Chris to come out here a little bit and keep shooting this, because it's a beautiful area with a lot of potential. You just got to kind of think outside the box a little bit, I think, when it comes to the desert anyway.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
So we will show you guys now the rest of our photos, all in a big collage, you know, like we usually do. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.